The crown jewel of epidemiology, the Framingham Heart Study is the longest running and most impactful study of its kind. The origin of the study is closely linked to the cardiovascular health of President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his premature death from hypertensive heart disease and stroke in 1945. In response, President Truman signed the National Heart Act to study heart disease, thereby creating the National Heart Institute and the Framingham Heart Study. Examination of our first participant was conducted in the fall of 1948. The study started with 5,209 men and women from Framingham who were selected by going door to door. The objective of the study was to identify the common factors or characteristics that contribute to cardiovascular disease by following its development over a long period of time in a large group of participants who had not yet developed overt symptoms of CVD. From its inception, the Heart Study was forward-thinking.
Framers of the Framingham study made two critical decisions early on that have helped their work endure. First, they enrolled women, which was rarely done in longitudinal studies at the time in 1948. In fact, all of the cohorts, including the original one, included slightly more women than men. And the framers also decided to recruit within families, with the expectation that this would help promote cooperation and provide new sources of participants for the future.
By the late 1960s, Framingham had for the first time defined the major risk factors for CVD, cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, and smoking, as well as aspects of adverse diet and sedentary lifestyle. There was some question in the federal government as to whether to continue funding the study. At that time, the leader of the study, Dr. Bill Cannell, successfully argued for Boston University to become the new home for FHS, and for the NHLBI to renew funding, including the recruitment and enrollment of a new cohort. 5,124 offspring of the original cohort and their spouses. This prescient transition of the study into a study of families focused on health beyond just CVD paved the way for decades of genetic insights. Boston University. Since 1971, the Boston University School of Medicine has served as NHLBI's contractor and academic partner for the study. Today, FHS includes 6 cohorts: the related original, offspring, Generation 3 cohorts, the new offspring spouses cohort, and the multi-ethnic Omni 1 and 2 cohorts, which reflect the changing demographics of the town of Framingham. Since this time, the study has provided substantial insight into the epidemiology of cardiovascular disease and its risk factors, changing how Americans and their doctors view heart disease, still the most common cause of death and disability worldwide.
Dr. Cannell introduced a new way of thinking based on the Framingham Heart Study, and really the world changed as a result of that, and now we commonly speak to risk factors.
The Heart Study has always shared the knowledge it gains by publishing papers in prestigious medical journals. Results of a bibliometric analysis of the nearly 6,000 papers published by FHS investigators from 1965 to 2024 illustrate the reach and impact the study has had around the world. Framingham has a reputation for producing high-quality, reliable data, which is why its papers are frequently cited as evidence in medical guidelines and policy documents. Today, Framingham's research goes well beyond the heart to include brain health, cognitive function and aging, a brain donation biobank, metabolic and gut health, kidney, liver, and lung disease, bone and musculoskeletal health, and healthy longevity. This funding maintains a treasure trove including more than 2 million biosamples and a vast data repository that has enabled hundreds of competitively funded ancillary studies at BU and beyond. 101 of these studies are currently active, with 39 of these awards coming to BU directly. In 2024, the FHS Center received over $13 million in funding through core contract and ancillary studies. In addition to FHS Center, the Heart Study directly touches 50 BU and 21 unique departments and centers at Boston University. This past year alone, FHS approved 32 early-stage investigator proposals, 12 of which came from BUPIs. In addition, FHS continues its legacy of training the next generation of leading researchers, with opportunities for T32 postdocs and medical residents in the R38 program, in addition to the numerous other training activities such as the Medical Student Summer Research Program. FHS partners with researchers around the world as we collaborate with all other cohort studies such as the Jackson Heart Study and MESA, provided controls for studies such as the Boston University Long Life Family Study, and training opportunities for historically Black colleges and universities through the Brain Aging Program. Going forward, we will utilize the successful foundation of the Heart Study to implement new initiatives that will further enhance the value of the study to educators, medical practitioners, researchers, funding agencies, and society at large. We aim to enroll 3 new cohorts, Generations 4 and 5 who are direct descendants of the first 3 familial cohorts, and an Omni 3 to learn about understudied, underrepresented groups such as those of the Haitian Caribbean descent in Boston. We will utilize participant downtime between exam cycles to conduct short-term perturbation studies to further our understanding of how populations and biological systems are affected by perturbations. Framingham has already begun and will increase the use of emerging AI and machine learning technology to evaluate existing and future medical images, recordings, genetic and non-genetic biosamples, and electronic data collected as part of the study. FHS will build upon its active brain donation program that was started in 1997, and 970 participants registered for the donation program. BU investigators Jessica Fetterman and Deepak Upal are currently seeking funding to start a heart and lung donation program. Based on responses to a 2023 survey about the new donation program, many Framingham participants indicated a desire to learn more about the program or were already enthusiastic about the opportunity to donate. We aim to increase recruitment of new scientists from BU and elsewhere to drive innovative science conducted with FHS participants. Framingham has long been a training ground for trainees and early-stage investigators, including our current PIs, who have gone on to do important research and hold national and international leadership positions. The Heart Study has survived and thrived thanks to the tremendous support it has received from so many. Most notably, our Massachusetts politicians at the local, state, and federal level have been tireless in their advocacy for FHS. Most notably, Congresswoman Katherine Clark, the Democratic whip in the U.S. House of Representatives.
And it is a privilege to be your partner, to be a voice for you in Washington, and to fight for the resources you need.
Boston University has championed FHS for over half a century, beginning with its leadership role in keeping the study going in the early 1970s.
People have said it takes a village to do something important, but in this case, it takes a small city to do anything with this kind of impact.
Of course, our biggest supporters are the study participants themselves.
If you belong to the Framingham Heart Study, you may just be a member of one of the most observed group of people on the planet.
Since the beginning, the participants from Framingham have been the bedrock of the Heart Study. They now travel far and wide to continue their families' legacies.
We are a force for good health, and we carry with us a collective sense of pride about what we do.
For the past 77 years, and counting, FHS participants have made unparalleled contributions to health science. While they have never been compensated for their time and endless efforts, they instead have worked to raise funds to support the Heart Study, mainly through donations made to honor the passing of study participants. In 2023, as we celebrated our 75th anniversary, the last living participant from the first generation of FHS study participants passed away at the age of 105. For more than 76 years, the Framingham Heart Study has defined and shaped our understanding of healthy aging and the risk factors for chronic disease. It is no exaggeration to say that these discoveries made in Framingham have led to medical treatments and public health interventions that have saved the lives of millions of people worldwide. With Boston University support and our NHLBI contract, we will extend the legacy and provide a platform for new discovery and training for years to come.